Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Woman Unleashed Online Retreat, a Cosmic Cowgirls collaboration. We are here again for another beautiful session. I'm really excited about today's session. There are many people who I follow, and there are some who I consider my mentors and whose work really affects me personally. And this is one of those women, and her work has really transformed my life and the work of her organization. So excited to have her on. Yay! But before we go there, we know that part of our experience, part of what we're doing here is pausing. We have all this stuff going on around us, and it's like this is our little sacred time. This little moments together is when we can carve out the space to listen within, to listen to our soul, and to then decide and to move forward. So before we do that, let's go ahead and, like I always like us to do, let's just get comfortable. Make sure that you're sitting someplace comfy. You have your journal, pen, you have something to drink. I have my tea. Over here, Shar, what do you have over there?
Yeah, I have my water.
Nice.
Yes.
Cheers.
Right.
Mmm, yum. So let's go ahead and just settle. I want you to imagine roots sending right out from the bottom and the base of your spine and rooting all the way down. And I want the top of your spine to imagine you extending and reaching up. And with that imagery, I'd like for you to inhale with me 3 times. Inhaling in and releasing. Inhaling again, and imagine collecting all your energy from wherever it's been before you got here. Imagine collecting it as you inhale and release. And last time, inhaling in and out. And here we are. Yay! So, very excited to share with you our guide today. Char Tosi. Now, Char Tosi is the founder of Women Within and co-creator of the Women Within trainings. And this weekend is an experiential weekend where women really have the opportunity to tune inwards, to listen to themselves and become their most empowered selves. And they do this in a community of women. I've been honored to take the training and to staff the training. So it's definitely one of those things that I say are really close to my heart when I think of my own work in the world, and as far as mission and giveaway things that I do, this is an organization that I love, love, love. She's trained hundreds of women within facilitators, and there have been over 12,000 women that have gone through the training in over 20 countries. Big, big. So she, besides all this, she's also has a nursing degree. She has a master's in educational psychology, and she is also trained in Jungian therapy. And this is where it starts to get interesting. She has her own private practice, and she works with people to look at the energies of the archetypes and to kind of create a balanced look at areas in their life they want to shift, fears, things they want to move through, and helps use these energies to do that. So welcome, Char. So excited to have you here. Honored, honored, honored.
Thank you, Amber. It's a joy to be here and to be a part of your retreat and to talk about the archetypes of women. I think the first thing I'm going to do is light a candle. If anyone would like to do that with me, if you have a candle handy, if you haven't already. It's just a symbol of our light that we each bring to the world. So today, as Amber said, I'm going to talk to you about the Jungian archetypes of women, and what I really encourage you to do is just think for a moment, how do you want your life to be different in 2015? And in order to help you, before we start talking about them, I would invite you to join me in just a little visualization. Some people call it a meditation. And close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And Amber's already had us take some deep breaths. So just close your eyes and just go into the deep silence inside yourself. And reflect for a moment, just for a moment. Reflect on the past year, this year that is going to be ending soon, 2014. And just take a moment to reflect and be aware of what brought you joy in 2014. And now just reflect what brought you pain or discomfort. Because just as the sun begins its journey from the south to the north, we can begin our journey into the new year by forming intention of how we want our life to be different in 2015. So take a moment to form one intention for 2015, not 15 or 20, just one. Let that intention float into your consciousness. Go deep into your belly, where your intuition lies, perhaps, and listen. As this intention rises, gently receive it. Some examples of intention are to be a better partner, to take care of your body better, to be a better parent, to write a book. There may be many different intentions that are arising, and find just one. And when you are ready, open your eyes. And I invite you to write that intention down on a piece of paper, as I am going to write mine down. So, Amber, would you like to share your intention?
Sure. Um, hmm. So my intention is to maintain my connection to my heart and spirit in the midst of everything else.
Beautiful. And my intention that I wrote down is to believe I am worthy. That I've
Mm.
had a year of 2014 of pain and discomfort that has tested that. And so this year, 2015, I want to work on my intention of being worthy, believe in it in my heart and soul. And
Mm.
so this, what I just had you do was to access what I call one of the archetypes, which is the crone archetype. And what I would like for you to do before I discuss all the different parts of you that you can use to embrace this intention is I would like for you to draw on your paper a star. Do you remember how we used to draw those stars? You know, you do it out, down, up, like that. I mean, there's an example right here on beside me. So just draw on your paper a star. And then in the middle of the star, make 3 sections. You can do it any way you want, just so there's in the middle of the star are 3 sections. And maybe later, or if we get the chance to today, you can color each section as we talk about each section of the star that you are. Because I've got on my poster here, you are a star. And I think as women, we typically forget that. And or I forget that I am a star. And in order to be balanced, I've got all these 5 different arms coming out. That is a different kind of energy that I sometimes need to call on when I feel out of balance. So let's talk about these a little bit. The first one, that the very top of the star, I don't know if you can see this clearly, but I've got written the word crone. That's one of the parts of us that is really important in listening to that still small voice. Now, a lot of women say, but I don't want to be a crone. That's such an ugly word. But the crone is the wise woman part of each of us that is directing where we need to go next, each step. And what's so important is to do what we just did when we started, was to stop what we're doing, which is hard to do during the holidays, to stop what we're doing and listen to that still, what I call the still small voice inside of us. So hopefully each of you had a chance to let rise into your awareness some aspect that you really want to develop in the coming year. So what's cool about the archetypes is when you can get aware of where you want to go, you've got all kinds of resources inside of you to help you with that. And the first one, as part of the goal of this retreat, is intention. I know that for many of us, we have a good intention, and we forget that we lose touch with a part of us that I call the warrior. The warrior is right down here in the star. And if you want to write warrior there, that's the part of you that can keep you focused on your intention. And there's a difference between a masculine warrior and a feminine warrior, which I can't go into in great depth in just 30 minutes time. But just to know that the feminine warrior is that part of you that can focus. And what's so unusual, or for me anyway, is that I have so many intentions sometimes and so many things I want to do that I forget to focus. So I often have to call on my warrior and say, help. Help me focus on this intention that I wrote down today. And one way that may help you is to write that intention on a card, an index card, and to put it somewhere where you can see it every day so that you can stay with your warrior by your side to help you focus. And the other thing that the warrior energy can really help you do is to say no when you get all these invitations from wanting to go out for coffee, or which is good to do, but sometimes when it conflicts with what we need to focus on, it's hard to say no. At least for me, it's very difficult to say no. And because I want to please people and I want to make others happy. So, do you have any questions, Amber?
No, no questions. I'm just kind of saying, oh yeah, that one. I talk to women, my friends, all the time about how busy we are, and that's one of the first thing I have my clients do is to go on a no diet, like saying no to things.
No diet. I
And I
like
love that you're saying to call up the warrior to do that, and not you're saying there's a difference between masculine, feminine, warrior. I'm understanding it's not like a no, not in your face kind of no, but like just a no. These are my boundaries. Yeah.
No. Yes, that's exactly right. It's about boundaries. I That was another word about warrior that I wanted to mention. That we really need to set our boundaries, um, and sometimes that's pretty difficult to do. And just so, with this intention that you wrote down, you might want to journal either maybe later about what are some of the things that keep you from focusing on this intention. And each of the archetypes I'm going to share with you today will all help you to balance and to really make this intention work for you this year. That's my hope. And I'm just really excited about working on mine. So we've got the warrior. So let's keep going. And the next one is you need to do some movement in order to get past the old way of whatever you did that kept you from being like for me, for feeling like I'm worthy. There's some old things that happened to me. And that's the adolescent energy. These three areas in here are the infant, child, and adolescent. This is where we formed all our beliefs. This is where a, a lot of us had wounds that really drive our behaviors. And so it's about getting in touch with all of how these parts of us can serve us to move us forward. And what's really cool about the adolescent, it's about transitioning, it's about movement, because you're moving from the child into your adult is a typical adolescent. But as women, we still have an adolescent very much alive in us. And it's important that we use her in a good way.
What are you talking about, Char? I don't have an adolescent. I don't know what you're talking about.
You sound like you're in her right now.
What?
Yeah, it's that little rebel in us that I don't know if I want to move forward. Or, okay, today I'll move forward. But what's cool about this particular energy is that we need to leave behind something in order to move forward. So at this time, just take a second to list some beliefs or fears or identities, because adolescence is about finding your identity that may be keeping you from moving forward. So just if you want to just journal for just a minute, is there a belief or a fear that is keeping you from reaching your intention? Like my intention was to believe I am worthy. So obviously I have a belief that I am unworthy, that I am not good enough. And even with what I've accomplished in life, this one still comes up and rears its ugly head. And so I go back into that adolescent, and then it drives me back into even feeling like an infant, helpless. And so what what I encourage you to do, and I'll be quiet for 1 minute, to just list what is some fears or beliefs that are keeping you from being what your intention is. Okay, so so look at what your belief is, or your fear, or your identity, and what needs to happen now is to really fall into the infant part of you. That's the one that I've written here in the middle. The infant part of you who can trust that things can be different. And also, when you look at the infant part of you, you want to look at the mother part of you, the mother inside of you. I think a lot of us, when we think of mother, we either think of our own birth mother or we think of ourselves as mothering our children. But what this is today is about how to mother yourself. And in order for you to really gain this intention that you wrote down, there's some things that you need to hear from the mother inside of you that can help you move past whatever this fear is. Let me read like my fear that I wrote of what's keeping me blocked actually from believing I'm worthy is I have a fear of getting hurt. And I also have this old belief that I am useless. And what's really fascinating is I'm moving into my crone years and slowing down in life is I'm fighting this belief that I am useless. Just like I'm having to recreate myself and actually become an infant and trust that there's some things I need to hear from my inner mother that can make a difference to those, take away those fears. They'll always be there, but they can be lessened by listening to my inner mother. So I invite you to take a moment now to now journal. What is it that you need to hear in order to let go of this belief in fear or fear? Now, before you write too much, what I want you to do is to make sure it is something that a small child could understand. Something very simple. Because I believe there are magic words inside of ourselves that we need to hear from our inner mother. And what I have done in my relationship with my husband is I've given him these magic words to say to me when I'm feeling worthless. I need to hear them outside myself too. So it's not just something that you say to yourself, but you might invite your circle of women, your partner, someone that you trust in your life to say these words. So take another minute. I'm going to time another minute. What is it you need to hear when this belief or this fear comes up? Okay, take another few seconds to write what you need to hear. And one way you can discover if this is a magic thing you need to hear is your body will, my body sometimes responds to it. And I get the feeling of either, oh no, that can't be true, or wow, that is true. So it may come up in different ways for each of you. So Amber, do you have one that you can just share with us?
Sure. So when I looked at my beliefs, one of the beliefs is that, if so my intention is to maintain my connection to my spirit while everything else is going on. And one
Hmm.
of my beliefs is that if I am connected to my spirit, that I'll be judged.
Mm.
And what I got was that being me is really important.
Mm. Yes. So something like hearing it from your mother, your inner mother would be you being you is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't quite have goosebumps yet, so I know it's not quite right,
Not
but
quite right.
I feel like I want to journal a little bit more on that when I have more time.
Yeah, I really,
Yeah.
yeah, because and it helps if you can have someone just repeat it back to you, um, because when you hear it back, then you know when you've got it.
Hmm.
Like, let me just try mine. Mine is, you are awesome. So would you just repeat that back to me?
You are awesome.
Mm. That almost brings tears to my eyes because my body doesn't believe it yet, but it's working on it. So I need to hear that from my inner mother every day, and possibly from my partner and from other women. And it's not expecting your partner to know when to do it. It's when are the women in your circle. It's important to ask for it. Just like I asked Amber, would you repeat that back for me? Because when I what's really important to hear this is when I'm going down what I call the rabbit hole or in a vortex of feeling I'm not worthy. That's when I need to hear it. And that's when it's actually the hardest to ask for it. So that's sort of the conundrum. And stopping and pausing and just imagining your inner mother looking at you and saying, or I'll say looking at me and saying, you are awesome, can really start changing and firming up that new belief that I am worthy. Okay, so we're really moving along here, and the next one that I want to talk about is the lover archetype. Typically, we think of lover as being someone outside of ourselves that loves us, or being in a loving relationship, and maybe sexual or in a partner relationship. And I invite you to expand that to loving, first of all, yourself, and to really knowing that it's important in order for you to connect with others, which is what lover's about, is to connect with yourself. And so the lover is, that I put the word down that fits this retreat that we're working on, is nurturing. How can you nurture yourself? How can you love your body, mind, and spirit? And so the lover is about taking care of your body and taking care of all the other, what I call the little parts of yourself. My infant, my child, my adolescent, by feeding myself well, by resting, by exercising, by meditating, and also by joining in with my mother to say those magic words that you just came up with. And that's what will grow and expand um, daily. If if you can commit to doing this daily, will help you to really accomplish your intention. And then lastly, what I want to talk about is the queen archetype. The queen is the part of you that rules your inner domain as well as your outer domain, whether your outer domain is your family, your workplace, your community, the world. And how I look at the queen is no matter where I go, I take my domain with me. I can be a queen in the grocery store when everyone's trying to fight over food, getting ready for the holidays, and a queen in my family when I'm listening to all the complaints, maybe, and knowing that my job is to bless myself as well as those that I serve, which could be my family, which could be those I work with, my friends, my circle of women. And the question I want to ask you is how your life will be different when you have balanced all these parts of you that you possess. So it's like, how will your life be different when you really accomplish this intention that you wrote down on your paper? How will my life be different when I can live as though I'm worthy? I think it will be a whole lot different. So it's about using all of these parts when they get out of balance to call in what I need at that time, whether it's my mother, my lover, my warrior, my crone, or my queen, or to remember my infant, my child, and my adolescent. And I typically do I call it a meditation every day where I look at all these different archetypes and ask them, are they present? Or is there anything they need? Because my mother part of me may need to rest, or my lover part of me may need a connection with someone. So it's really about learning how to call on these wonderful parts of yourself because you are a star. And it's remembering that we can balance all parts of the star. And do I have any time left, Amber? I have one more little piece.
Yes, you have time left.
Okay.
Yes, yes, you do. Of
Okay.
course.
Okay. What I want you to also think about, which I think is for me is the crone archetype, is to develop some kind of ritual. And what I mean by ritual is something you can do every day that will call back your intention, and that where you can take a moment to what I would encourage you to do is what I do is I light a candle. I have a very special candle here that I light. It has the word laugh on it. And you know why I need to go back to that? Because I forgot the one of the most important archetypes, and that's the child, which is very interesting. That the child is about creativity. The child is about play. So how can you make it fun in order to birth this new intention? Let your imagination run wild. So, for instance, I have a little magic wand that I have that I sometimes wave around, and I imagine myself being a princess or a queen, and I play with myself, or I play with my grandchildren, and I really let myself feel the child inside of me. So it's about somehow checking in with each part of yourself. And I think it's very interesting that I forgot the child when I was talking about how we go about creating our intention. Because one of the things that happened to me last year is I really sort of exiled my child. I forgot about her, and I forgot to play and have fun. So I was all this serious stuff. And the child inside of you isn't just wounded, as a lot of our little children inside of us are. She's also awesome, or she's also wonderful, and is also ready to be seen by you. So call her in. So I light the candle on a daily basis. I encourage you to find what would work for you. Some women would burn sage, some women would just maybe journal. Um, can you think of some other ways that women could perhaps do a little ritual, Amber?
Um, yeah, some things that I do
Mhm.
are I am into creativity. So I like to use color and image, using painting, movement, like actually being in the body form of each one, like imagining
Oh, that
like
would be
in your body, yeah, to trust how it feels to nurture yourself, how it feels to be the ruler or a warrior, kind of feeling that energy in the
that would
body.
be great. Yes. Yes. And I guess the other thing I wanted to say when we were talking about creativity, thank you for mentioning that, is I invited you to have colored pencils at the session today, and we did not have time to do this, but I really invite you to draw an image or pull a color to each one of these archetypes. And another fun way to do it is to take magazines and take out images of each of these archetypes and put them in your journal. Or if you're not the kind that likes to do that, I like to put sounds to the images, to the archetypes. Like my warrior is no, or my queen is and just play with sound. And you can play with even touch, finding different fabrics that really call these energies to you. So it's fun to develop a way to keep them alive in your life, and to bring them forward to serve your intention on a daily basis.
Mm. I love, when you talked about a meditation as far as checking in
Hmm.
with everyone. I know before you've mentioned using a table. Um, that's a great visualization tool, having people
Hmm.
sitting around the table. Could you
Right.
talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that's the other thing I do as well on a daily basis as a ritual, actually. Thank you. Is I actually imagine that there's a big banquet table, and I invite all of my different parts of me that I've talked about here to sit around the table. And particularly, sometimes I use it when I have an issue of decision I'm trying to make, or it's just like how I start the day. Say to each part of yourself, how are you today, infant? And is there anything you need? And then to the child, and then to the adolescent, to the mother, the lover, the warrior, the queen, and the crone. And the one that we didn't address, that I didn't go into, is the shadow, in the sense of what happens is when we get caught up in what I call the vortex, or going down the rabbit hole, is a lot of times it's a part of our unconscious that's really trying to come up and give us a new understanding of who we are. So it's really a gift when we do go down those vortexes to then get, okay, what's this about? And to use all these different parts of ourselves around the table to help us understand who we really are.
Hmm. I love that you see the shadow as it's like understanding a piece of ourselves, that it's a gift.
It is a gift
Mhm.
because there's always, even though sometimes they're very painful, even all, no matter what your painful situation may be, there is a gift in it. And it's about looking for what we call the gold in the shadow,
Mm.
and using all of all of who we are to learn about that.
Amen, sister. I love that. The gold. Yay, gold.
Yay! Yes.
I feel very queenly with my gold.
Yes, very much so.
Oh, is there anything else you want to mention right now, or are you ready to share with the audience something special for them?
Is it time for me to share the special treat?
Well, if you'd like, yes.
One of the things that where all of this is talked about is in a book I've written called Discover Your Woman Within. And as your gift, you can go to my website. I think, are you going to give the website information, Amber?
Yeah, I have the website information for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
go to my website and you enter in the code, and you can download a free PDF of my book that you can print out and read all about the archetypes and how they can serve you. And also, I talk in there about the Woman Within weekend that Amber mentioned in the beginning. A lot of the stories that I share in my book are about women who've taken the Woman Within weekend and how they have been able to transform their lives by using all of these different parts of themselves. So
Okay.
that's the free gift. I hope you enjoy it.
Okay, ladies, I just want to like make sure that you understand what she's doing here. She is giving you her book. Holy cow, it's amazing. So I love this book. Like I mentioned before, I've done work on the One Within weekend, and there's a link also for you to check out more information on that weekend. But this book is amazing. It goes through each archetype in more detail. It has exercises, things for you to do. It talks about like stories of people, so it's not just head knowledge. It's actually you can understand a little bit more from someone else's perspective. Just amazing, amazing wealth of information that I use myself for you for free. All you have to do is click on the link and put in the code. Amazing! Char, you're so generous and we're so happy.
Thank you. So you're going to give them the code somehow, some other way?
Yep, we're gonna put the code. We'll put the code at the bottom.
Okay.
Here. There's underneath the video right here, ladies. There's a link. Go ahead, click on the link, and right below that link is the code. So copy paste that code. Okay.
Great.
Yay. Oh, so thank you so much, Char. This has been amazing. Really looking forward to ladies, hop in the Facebook group. Would love to see any drawings you have of your archetypes, who you've connected with, your intention that your crone came up with, maybe ways that you're already around that banquet table and maybe your warrior is telling you how to say no to things, how maybe your mother is telling you how to nurture yourself. Really can't wait to dialogue and connect and to hear more from you. Char, again, thank you so much for this.
Thank
It's been
you, Amber.
wonderful.
Really enjoyed being with you. And blessings to women, all that have been listening in, and men, perhaps.
Perhaps if they snuck in. Well, I don't know.
Right. Okay. They want to understand us. Yeah, right.
Oh.
Okay.
So, women, then we'll be seeing you at our next session. Sending much aloha. Mwah, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.